Hi viewers, I welcome you all for this video lecture series on JSON properties. Before that, I introduce myself. I'm Shankar. I'm working as assistant professor in the Department of Computer Science and Engineering. Let's go to the video content. And in this video, we are going to talk about JSON properties. Among that, first we'll discuss about the first property called JSON ignore. This annotation helps us in ignoring certain properties of a Java class when it is getting serialized to a JSON object. Let's first understand why do you need such properties when you are going to ignore them anyway. There could be various reasons like you want to hide data from clients like password, date of birth, etc. The client does not want your unprocessed raw data like JSON string, etc. And to do this, what do you have to do? You have to just add at JSON ignore annotation above the particular field. For example, in this case, we have given one example. In this example, we have created a class called student that was implemented by serializable objects. So here in static final, we have declared a variable called class property called serial version UID in the type of long. It was assigned default value as 1. And it consists of another three attributes like ID, name, class. ID is in the type of integer, name is in the type of string, and class is also in the type of string. Suppose you don't want to process the string type of data called JSON result. Here we have declared another property called JSON result is in the form of string. Suppose you don't want to process this string type of data at the client side, then we can annotate this property with the annotation called at JSON ignore. If you want to process the data instead there, we can use another called result is another class maybe, and we have declared an object called results. So if you consider this example, here we are ignoring the JSON result and it won't show up in the JSON object. You just look at here, we four field actually we have declared, right? ID, name, class, as well as JSON results. So here you just see. So this JSON result output will not be there in the JSON format over here. But instead, we have specified to process the result as a class. So it has displays the another class inside, right, as a result. So it again maths, English, science will be over here. But it can't be like other properties, ID, name, class like a results. So like that we can have a JSON ignore attribute over here. And this is not only the way you can use this annotation. Let's say if you are using a common class for both response and post request body. In this case, you might have to allow the client to set uh, that property, but restrict them to get it. You can do this by adding just at JSON ignore to the getter method and leaving the setter method just like that. For example, here we have used declared the class called user and consists of two variables, class properties called name and password. So here for get password, we have added at JSON ignore because we are still hiding it from the client side and in the get request. But we are allowing them to set the post request so that we have not annotated the JSON ignore annotation over here in the set password method. And next, the second one is at JSON property. Next is at JSON property. This annotation helps us in defining a logical property for defining a logical property for a field that will be used for both serializing and deserializing. Let's discuss some of the common use cases for at JSON property. If you are using auto-generated getters and setters, then you can use at JSON property for Boolean fields like is active, such that both JSON object and Java object have the consistent field name is active. Otherwise, the JSON by default will determine the property name from either getter or setter, and you could see the discrepancy in the JSON and Java object. Let's say we are getting data from some API where the property name is in snake case or Pascal case, but we follow the camel case, then also we can use that JSON property. So here on simple example is given. In this, we have created the same examples student that was implemented by serializable. Here we have declared the class variables called serial version UID, integer in the integer type ID, string type name, string type class, and here we have used another Boolean type of variable called isActive that was annotated with JSON property with isActive. And another JSON property we have given the value called roll number, and also the variable is the roll number is the type of Boolean type. So in this case, for example, here we are defining the property name of the field is active as is active, so that even the JSON object can have the same property name rather than having it is as active. And second, for roll number, the field we are defining the property name as roll number so that the JSON object can have the property name in the camel case, not in uppercase. And then the third property is JSON alias. This annotation helps us in defining different alias for a JSON property to be mapped to a Java field during deserialization. For example, if you imagine we are aggregating movie and TV series data from various streaming platform APIs and storing it in our application class. Let's assume we have one class for movie and one for TV series. As we are getting data from various sources, we can expect various naming conversion of the property name, but we want to map similar data to one Java field, right? And this is where a JSON alias comes into particular. Let's go how it will be used with the example. In this case, in this way, our application will consider title, movie name, and name for all three during the deserialization. So here we have declared a class name called movie. So here we have used the at JSON property, the value is name for alias name, title, comma, movie name. And we have declared one string type of variable called name. So here, similarly, it would consider all names like gender, type, and category. So for the gender, we have created the alias name called type category. For this, we have created a variable called gender, and for the another variable is streamline. So in this example here, we have two Java field called the JSON field is annotated with JSON property could have different name depending on which API that data is coming from. So by giving alias such as title and movie name, we are telling our application that whenever it come across this property name in JSON object, it should set our name field and by having a JSON property, we can define a logical property name for the Java field which will be used in both serialization and deserialization. I thank you all for watching this lecture series. Thank you. Thank you once again.